hello, everybody. My name is Kenda. I'm your host, and this is Minding My Own Podcast. It is Wednesday, January 24th.
January 24th.
The month is flying.
1 month down in 2024 already.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Would you say that you've already accomplished a few things that you had on your list for 2024?
I kicked 2024 in with a bang.
I know that's right.
I ain't gonna even lie. January's been doing this dance for me.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
Well, for starters, she's here.
Hi, guys.
Yes, guys, this is Eboni. Eboni, me and you
Yes.
have been talking about doing this episode for a little while.
Yes. Yes.
Here we are today.
Yeah.
We have such an important topic to discuss.
This topic is, man, so important, and I don't think we shed enough light on it. So it's an honor. It's a privilege to be doing this. This was on my bucket list. This was got to be done.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
And I'm glad that I was able to have this, have this type of platform for you to come here and discuss this with me, because I agree with you. This is a very important topic. It is not discussed enough. And people like you, beautiful people like her, kind hearts, good soul, sometimes get in situations that we weren't expecting.
you don't see it coming.
You don't see it coming, especially when it comes to somebody you care about.
Nope. It's not what people think it looks like.
Right.
People think that, let's just say, domestic violence looks like black eyes and bruised lips and scars, and it's not what it looks like. I've been through that, but
it's not the same.
It's not the same.
Okay.
People don't look at me now and be like, "That's the girl. She went through domestic violence." Don't look at me now like that. And even in the process of going through it, friends and family couldn't even tell. You really sweep it under the rug. So being here, being able to talk about it,
yeah, it's something that you've been meaning to do. It's something that you are destined to do. You're bringing awareness.
That is my biggest thing. Bringing awareness. People give up on you a lot. That's one of the things I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
People give up on you. Growing from it, not even just growing from it, glowing from it.
Yeah,
that is just incredibly challenging. One of the biggest things I had to learn after therapy, because I went to therapy, was how to tell your story to heal others and not tell your story and put it on others.
Oh, that's a good. That's important.
It is. And I learned that because I'm a hairstylist. We talk.
Yeah. You're already like somebody's therapist. Every time they come get their hair done, you are there too, just kind of like listening to other people's issues and and trying to help ease them through it as best you can.
Coming out throughout the years, I've done TikToks about it. Typically, I'll post randomly about it. But to be on this platform, y'all, this is an amazing platform. If y'all not tapped in, y'all need to tap in. Being on this platform and being able to get this out and get the word out means more to me than just my TikTok, than just the Facebook, just the Instagram. I had a friend tell me the other day, she was like, I didn't believe for a long time. She was like, I didn't believe. I would tell her this is what I was going through, or someone to understand why I would rush to leave to go home. And she was like, until I see it. He was like, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You would what you think. It's not what you see on TV.
Right.
You look like an ordinary, everyday person.
And it's somebody who is definitely having some issues with themselves and projecting and being a certain type of way towards somebody who cares for them. It's almost as if they're rejecting the love that's being presented to them and abusing it and abusing the person. Before we get too deep into that right away, I want to talk about what you're doing right now. Okay.
Okay.
You are an entrepreneur, a
Yes.
mother. You got one son, right?
Yes.
Where do you work?
So currently I'm a lactician
Yes.
and I run my own business. I actually have done hair full time as my sole source of income now since 2018. I legalized my
Nice.
business on paper in 2020. I
Congratulations.
started building my business credit in 2021. Then from there, it just grew. The
Yeah.
brand just grew. It Being a business owner is not easy. I've been to a few different salon suites,
Hmm.
working on my actual own salon.
Hmm.
But more recently, I just got my CDLs. So
Congratulations, honey. That's
yeah,
dope. That's dope. The reason why I wanted to do that, your business right now, a beautiful life.
yes, it's a
A,
beautiful life.
it's a beautiful life. She, like she says, she does locks, she does hair. She's been doing it for quite some time. So y'all make sure y'all follow Miss Eboni Crosby. And if y'all know anybody who needs their hair done, y'all make sure y'all refer them to her. She's great at what she does. And I'm all for supporting someone who stands for something. I'm all for supporting someone who's a black woman, first and foremost, um, and has strength and integrity, which you have.
Thank
You're
you.
you're
I
you're welcome.
try.
You're welcome. You're
I
welcome.
try.
And in situations that we go through in life, some people endure really challenging things, really hurtful things, really traumatic things, and then they let that eat them up and they don't turn out to be very good people. But you're not like that at all. I see you every day trying to put a smile on somebody's face, trying to get somebody to laugh. You're always speaking some real shit. Like, you are a wonderful person.
You want to make me cry on this live, and I'm not gonna do that. You're not gonna get me to cry.
Okay.
You're not gonna get me to cry. You're not gonna get me to cry. Because man, that's all I try and do. My business name actually started from poetry.
Wow. That's beautiful.
Um, and when I was actually with him when I came up with my name, and my color purple is actually in my business because it's the color for domestic violence. So that's the purple ribbon. So if
Yeah.
nobody knew, the purple ribbon also is for domestic violence survivors.
And
And
look.
okay, period. When I came up with a beautiful life, it was just for my poetry name. It was just for me to get my words out there. And then when I was transitioning into doing hair, because I've loved hair since I was like 10,
Hmm.
I was gonna change the name. I was gonna give my business a whole different name. And then a cousin of mine was like, "No, just put styles on the end." It didn't ring a bell at first. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. As the years have progressed, and I've touched a lot of hearts and minds, souls of other people, it made me realize why that was the name that spoke to me and it stuck with me. Because
Yeah.
despite all the pain, all the abuse, all of the trauma, I still got a beautiful life.
Yes.
Like,
Yes. Hold on, wait. Amen. That right there. That right there. That's powerful.
I
You
found
do.
beauty. I found beauty in my pain. I, I found beauty in my pain. Man, listen, if you not healing, if you not doing the internal work, I encourage you to do the internal work. You can't work it away. You
Right.
can't sleep it away. You can't sex it away. You can't smoke it away. You can't drink it away. You really have to do the internal work.
Yeah.
I have been domestic violence free for 6 years out of
Wow.
13 years worth of abuse.
Wow.
And we only talking about one person, but it was three. So it took me 3 times to learn my lesson. And being alone. So for the past 5 years, I was alone. I dated here and there
Hmm.
and talked to people here and there. Um, and I just kept growing from it. Like I took a step back. The first 2 years was the hardest. Anxiety is a real thing. I
It is.
still deal with anxiety.
Same here.
I do not like around a lot of people. People are like, how do you do that? You do hair. I'm very, very particular in the individuals I take, individuals I keep.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my business was a part of my healing journey. People don't talk about in domestic violence. You don't really learn responsibility and priorities.
Mm.
My last and final abuser I was with 20 to 28. So it was like instead of growing and learning how to establish and live life, I was really growing and learning how to be in survival mode or walking on eggshells. So my business is everything to me because it's not just hair to me.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope that the people I talk to, the people I engage with, the people I meet, the heads I touch, I really truly hope that I leave them with something precious.
Yeah.
Even if they don't come back to me, I hope I leave them with something precious.
Mm-hmm.
They might say, she was late, but she a dope person. That's all I can ask for.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just keeping a positive message out there. I hate when they say good people finish last. No, we don't. We finish first, baby.
Mm.
No, we don't. No, we don't. When you start to heal internally, you finish first.
I agree.
Um,
I agree with that. I love that.
so I don't know. It's a lot. Emotional intelligence, emotional awareness that then came out of this. The growth as a woman and a mother that came out of this. Learning my own strengths that came out of this. It's coming off of domestic violence and just the constant battle of fight
Mm-hmm.
and arguments because we just talking about the physical abuse. See, it's
Emotional.
mental, it's physical,
Mm-hmm.
there's emotional, there's
Yep.
verbal, there's financial, there's spiritual, and and honestly, what it is they pick and choose how they want to break you down. So if you aren't strong within yourself, and I was looking for love.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't waiting for love. I was looking for love. I just wanted somebody to love me because I'd already had abandonment issues. I already felt displaced.
Yeah.
Even now, as a 35-year-old adult, I go places and I be like, I'm supposed to be in this room. I don't fit with this person. I don't look like this person. I don't think I should be here. I can't vibe with this. I just rather go home
Mm-hmm.
because I'm still learning how to say I belong in this room. I belong with this set of people. It's okay to be different.
Yeah.
So, after 8 years of being in that, the he broke me down mentally. I had to rebuild myself. And then emotionally, I had to come back from that and I had to learn how to love again.
Yeah.
And now I know how to love properly. So I really look at the world differently.
And that's,
So
you know what, and that's progress. That's growth. And that's learning how to love you more, learning how to love you better.
it's
You said that you were in three different relationships where you endured domestic violence.
mhm.
So this started young up until till
Until I was
28.
20, till I was 28. The
Okay.
first one I was 15, 15 to 17.
Hmm.
He was my first boyfriend, and man, if I knew then what I know now, uh, I guess I'll go ahead and publicly tell the story now. Actually, my best friend is a witness to this one, and if she's tuned in, she's probably gonna be dying laughing. I went to collect my things. I'll never forget. I went to go collect my things. We were staying at his grandmother's house.
Hmm.
This is not to shun or downplay my mother because my biological mother, I definitely think is an amazing woman. She's made through her own trials and tribulations. She did what she could, the best that she could,
Hmm.
having three children under the age of 21. Um, yes, I was raised separated from that home up until 15. And that's a little bit of that history as to why I ended up where I was. And being with him for 2 years, then realized that this abuse was not normal. And I didn't talk about it. I didn't say anything. I wasn't telling somebody, oh, my boyfriend's choking me out. No, I wasn't telling somebody. My boyfriend chased me down the street with a butcher knife. Of course not. And
Wow.
at the time, being so young and my friends being young, we really couldn't help each other. It'd be like, oh, you guys will be fine. You'll make it through it. Instead of, girl, you need to get out. It's
Yeah.
more like you 15. It's just like, okay, well, he loves me. I'm gonna stay. He chased me down the street with a butcher knife.
How was he older than you, or y'all was the same
I
age?
was 15. He was 19, so he was 4 years older than me. When I left, I was 17. That made him 20. And I'll never forget the day he chased me down the street with a butcher knife for walking into his grandmother's house where we lived, where he was sitting with the girl that he was cheating on me with.
Wow.
I was exposed to a lot of things prematurely at a very young age. And to my mother, if she's tuned in, I apologize if this is where you got to first hear it. But, I didn't go to my mom and talk to her about it. And to be honest, I could have, once my mom had got her home and got situated, I could have probably went home. But you tell a 15, 16-year-old, and I'm going to take this freedom away from you, and you got to come back home, and now you got to be in the house at 10. When you 15, 16, and you in the streets, you get the chicken, you can drink wine, wherever he go, you go, you got all this freedom. I'm not going back home where I got to follow some rules. I'm going to stay right over here because this is okay. It's not that bad, but it was that
It was
bad.
bad, and you just, it sounds like you were convincing yourself that it wasn't that bad because you wanted to continue to do the things that you were doing, and you had convinced yourself that the love was worth more than the abuse itself.
And that was where I was with it majority of the time. And honestly, at 15, 16, I can truly say I pocketed. I compartmentalized what I was going through.
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much took it and told myself it would be okay. So the cheating, the fights, the sexual abuse, and all of it, it just was like it's okay. Like this is all right. I'm gonna make it through this. I went to school. Yes, I graduated from high school. Then went off to college. Did everything I was supposed to do. But at 17, it had become too much. And at 17, I just kind of woke up and I looked at him and I was like, the crazy part about it is, to be honest, it wasn't the abuse that made me leave at 17. It was me being tired of him cheating on me.
Wow. Which I still feel like that's a form of abuse, in my
Yes,
opinion.
that is a
Uh,
form of abuse.
I truly feel that way. Especially if you get caught and you keep telling lies and stories about how you're not gonna do it again, but you know good and well that
You're
that's not true. You're just getting sneakier
you
behind
just
it.
get sneakier and better at it.
Yeah.
So at 17, I didn't have this mentality,
Right. Right.
So the first time I went through domestic violence, although it was more physical
Mm-hmm.
than it was anything, and it was really physical and financial because he had the source of income also. I didn't.
So you were kind
So
of relying on him, and you were, like you said earlier, you were in that survival mode.
survival, and that's where I was like 15 through 17. It was about surviving through the next day or the next phase because eventually, hey, I'll be 18. I'll be
Yeah.
grown. So that was the first. The second one, I was 19. Um, there's a lot of people that's been around for this. I always like to say, and I say this before I tell the second one, never judge a book by its cover,
Mm-hmm.
and don't talk from the chapter you walked in on.
Ooh, that's deep.
Because, man, if I didn't have the people I have still around me to this day, this story would sound like a fairy tale. Like there's no way.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't speak if you weren't for that chapter. So I always like chapter two. I was 19. He was 20 years older than me. Actually, yeah, he was 40.
Wow.
So I was 19. He was 40. That one ended and resulted in a restraining order. and that one was more emotional abuse,
Okay.
and it was some physical abuse in there. The final straw was, I remember I was talking to him when I left him. We were staying together on 27th in Wisconsin, the apartment on the corner with the red cabana over it. Everybody knows this apartment. You came into the building for years. It's
Hmm.
next to the big old shrine. Got tired of arguing with him. Uh, I got ready to leave. And what really happened was one night he sat on my back. Saying this out loud is crazy because I'll never forget. He sat on my back with a knife on the back of my neck, talking about something he should make me feel how I make him feel. And in my mind, I don't understand how I make you feel.
Right. And how can what how it doesn't relate to me. I can't translate that.
I don't understand what I'm doing because here it is. I'm here. I don't go nowhere. I don't do nothing. Your son here, my son here. I'm not embarrassed to be with you. No, nothing. So what is it that I'm doing? So I ended up running down 4 flights of stairs with my baby who's in the stroller. I'm running down the streets. I fall. He's coming. A guy, I to this day don't even remember who it was, came up in a truck. He stopped. And I really don't know where he went or his name or nothing, but it's beautiful people like that step in
Yeah.
because a lot of people just watch. I ain't getting involved. I ain't gonna get involved in that. I'm gonna leave that where it is. Somebody real life came up and was like, "Hey, bro, she don't want to go with you. Leave her alone." So I ended up moving out. I had to have people come in, help me get my stuff out. I had bought all the furniture in the house. He wouldn't let me get it. I ended up moving out. I ended up having to have fraternity and sorority sisters, well, fraternity brothers come help me get my stuff out of there. Moved out of the house, moved around the corner. Obviously, at this time, I'm 19. I'm not thinking like, okay, just move around the corner, and he gonna be fine. He gonna be alone. Yeah, should have probably just moved to the other side of the world. He jumped the fence once. I had moved on to somebody else. He jumped the fence, kicked in my door, broke my phone. And that's how we ended up in resulting into me having to get a restraining order.
Oh.
And then at some point, he had stole all my money. I had financial aid, stole all my money, gambled away. He was a gambler. So I ended up losing everything after that, too. So that was 19. And then the juggler for me was 20. At 20, I met the last person I was with, and that's a longer story, but that was the worst one that I had possibly I could say that I was in, and that's because I was in it so long.
Let me ask you something. Did you, after sitting back, after all these relationships ended, when you were on that final one, did you sit back and see some type of consistency between the type of men that you were choosing? Like, did you see a consistency in what you missed right away, but then later you realized it wasn't a miss? Like, oh, like that. Oh, you crazy. And
The red
oh,
flags.
yeah, yeah,
Red flags is real. So for y'all to be joking about it out there, red flags are
they
real.
are real.
They
Yeah.
real. Okay.
So
Don't
did you notice some consistent red flags across the board
I did
after you got a chance to reflect
the
on it?
excessive need to meet a person.
Mm.
Um Not being able to be away from one another is a big one. Tearing you down is a big one. It don't start with like boom, boom, boom. That's not how it starts. Now, some people, I'm not gonna say don't. It's not always like that because I've been in groups. Some people just flat out come out and punch you. So I'm not gonna say I'm lucky because I'm not because I still have been punched, choked, slapped, pushed out of moving cars,
Oh my goodness,
you
girl.
name it. I didn't definitely went through it. But it started with verbal.
Yeah,
So everything started verbally at first. It started with being called to be. It
being called out your
started
name.
with being yelled at. It started with feeling like, oh, let me not go to my friend house because if I go here, they gonna assume I'm doing this. So I'm gonna just stay here. It started with your friends really ain't your friends. It starts with isolation. And when the verbal no longer works, they go to the next phase. The next phase for them could be mentally breaking you down, telling you beautiful one day, telling you ugly, uh, telling you're beautiful one day and then telling you you're ugly the next day. Um, it it then can and that plays on your mental. So they
Yeah.
start to use your words to kind of break you down mentally. Like maybe I shouldn't wear this. Oh, I don't look right in this. So now you start questioning yourself. So then it goes to your spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
So at the time I was a church girl, heavy into church. And all of a sudden now, why you want to go to church every Sunday? You don't need to go to church. What you going to church for? What do you want to go to church for?
So
Like
they become possessive,
they
controlling.
become possessive and controlling and manipulative.
Mm-hmm.
You really start to see it, and it's there in the beginning. It's there in the beginning. You know how far a person is willing to go. The red flags are there. With with my first boyfriend, although we were in high school,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of it was before the abuse even started. I don't really mess with that girl. I'll mess with that girl. Then why is this girl attacking me? And now you attacking me for attacking her. Why are you yelling at me? What does it matter when you the one that's coming home to me? Huh?
Right.
But it's
So
not okay.
really just a bunch of crazy talk. It sounds like trying to convince you that, oh, you need to turn the other cheek. You need to look the other way because I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there
I'm gonna
later.
be there, and
Yeah.
that's what it starts as.
Yeah.
It starts as building you up, and then they start to show more possessiveness. They start to attack your clothing, what you wear, your hair, how you talk, how you sound, all of that.
It's like sleeping with the enemy.
It's like sleeping with the enemy. That is
And I can chime in on that. I've experienced a form of domestic violence before. It was my first experience, and it's gonna be my damn last. Okay,
okay. Listen, because I ain't going through it
because
again.
I don't play that shit.
I ain't going through it again. You
We
gotta
ain't
go.
doing it. Right, right. We not doing that. Like I, in my experience with domestic violence, it was similar to your last experience when you catch somebody cheating or betraying you,
Mhm.
and you call them out on their shit, and now it's, oh, you're not doing what I want you to do right now. You're not sitting down listening to my lie, my explanation, my reasons for why I did this to you. And now I'm telling you, I don't want you a part of my life anymore. And so now you're putting your hands on me. I experienced that.
And that's where they go because now they got an innate fear inside of you.
Yeah.
So
And it don't
when
necessarily mean that, like you said, that they punched you
nope,
or choked you out or anything. It could
ladies,
be any form of abuse.
ladies, and I'm not just speaking to just the ladies because men go through it too.
Absolutely, they go through it
So I'm
too.
not gonna just I'm here speaking as a woman, but honestly, men and women go through it. So I'm just gonna say this: pushing is abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Your partner flinching at you is abuse. Anything that a person does to create
Holding you
fear,
hostage is abuse.
holding you
Yeah.
hostage is abuse. If they are doing something where your body no longer feels comfortable or relaxed,
Yeah.
and now it's creating a trauma response, honey, you're walking into abuse.
Right.
That is what that is. And now you're walking a very, very thin line before it gets worse.
Right.
I I will never forget with the last person I was with, riding in a car, driving down North Avenue. We're passing Skybox at this time. That we're on North Avenue, passing MLK where Skybox is, right? His friends in the back were taking his friend home. We in the car, we're talking about how I can tell that this girl that we just went from being around is somebody he's entertaining at work.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been backhand so fast in my life. Bust my lip.
Because you calling them out on they shit.
Friend in the back seat, like, bro, why you do that to her? Like, why you treat her like that? Don't you know she love you?
And you know what? I think that that's so. I don't even sometimes with words. I think it's so fucked up. I'm sorry. That's the only way I could put
It's the
it.
only way you can put it.
It's the only way I could put it because I also have to wonder what the fuck is wrong with you to where you think this is okay to initiate this type of, you know, abuse on somebody else. And then at the same time, not only are you doing this, you're afraid to lose me at the same time.
You afraid to lose me to someone else, but you
Yeah.
don't want to take care of what
You don't want to love me
have.
properly and you want to control me, use me,
Now,
hurt
I'm
me,
gonna
everything.
now this is probably gonna trip you out because understanding another person understanding without losing your own.
Right.
That was my 2023 lesson. How I learned that hurt people hurt people. I was in my car. I was driving down Hopkins. One day I was arguing with somebody that I was dating. I hung up the phone and I said out loud, hurt people hurt people. Lesson of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
2023 though, understanding another person's understanding without losing your own.
Yeah.
My first abuser, he's been raised by his grandparents. So that leaves you to question where is his parents and how
Right.
is his parents raising him? No guidance. So where did his anger go?
Mm-hmm.
Where was the love that he was looking for? And my second abuser, the malfunction of not ever feeling good enough. He was a 40-year-old man living with his sister before we got a house together.
Mm-hmm.
There was no stability there. My last abuser went through so much trauma with his mom
Mm.
and losing his dad and losing his grandmother. And, and I'm not going to tell the in depth of the things he went through with his mom
Yeah.
because that's his story to tell.
Mm-hmm.
But the pain and the trauma behind all of them, when you have no place to put where you're going and you don't have anybody there to love you, but then you get this love that this is just feels foreign.
Mm-hmm.
How do I keep this?
Right.
So now all of them had their own aggressions and their own problems and their own issues. And I just turned around and became their punching bag.
How long did it take for you to start to feel like this ain't right? Like I'm really being taken advantage of.
The last person, it took me 8 years because my heart was really in it. His brother passed away, and I'll always say RIP because his brother was definitely like our biggest supporter. And I'll never forget the day that his brother passed. I was actually in hair school at the time. I left from hair school. I'm going to shorten the story. I left from hair school, came there. They got the brother out. We were staying at his mom's house at the time. He kept crying. I couldn't console him. I remind you at this time, I think I'm like 24.
Mm-hmm.
People don't talk about the fact that at 24, I didn't know anything about how to console no man who just lost a brother. I haven't been through therapy enough to console you.
Yeah. That's
He
tough.
he felt like he heard me say I was gonna call another man to come pick me up, bust my nose. The pain that he was going through already from losing his brother. Only thing I said is I'm going to leave. That was what I said because he started saying I should have spent more time with my family than spending time with you. I'm trying to steady make you happy, and I didn't spend no time with my
So then he was trying
family.
to put that on you,
So
his
then
pain
he
on you.
tried to put his pain on me. I said, you know what? Let me leave the house because right now I can see we were already in an abusive, toxic relationship, so I knew it wasn't going to go well.
Right, right.
He heard something totally different. That's where we landed. So the biggest question some people would ask me is, did I forgive them? The bigger question, because we'll talk about the 8-year one primarily, is did I forgive him completely and totally? Now, are we gonna be friends? No, sir. But do I forgive him? I have to forgive him because I have to forgive myself for staying so long. But I won't forget it. So, I'm not making excuses for my abusers, none at all,
Mm-hmm.
because you had any and every other option at your disposal besides turning me into your punching bag.
Exactly.
You
You
did
could leave.
not have the right to put your hands on me. And at that moment, when you felt like you wanted to put your hands on me, you and I both should have ended this relationship, but you should have definitely ended this
Mm-hmm.
relationship. I'm not making no excuses. What I'm saying is, through my understanding where you were, I am capable of forgiving you. But you do not get an excuse for how you made me feel, the PTSD, the anxiety, the low self esteem, the stagnant things I've done in my life. You do not get an apology or forgiveness for that.
Right.
You are going to have to be held accountable. It's just like, well, I don't know. My shirt says victim, fighter, survivor, entrepreneur.
I love your
I'm
shirt.
not a victim. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm not a victim. I was victimized. I fought back.
Mm-hmm.
I survived, and I'm an entrepreneur. Um, Domestic violence does not define who I am. It's just a part of the story that created the beautiful person I am.
I agree.
I didn't. I didn't want to take that onto my next relationships, and I try not to. Um, my biggest thing right now is within my relationships. I try and get my. I want a partner that understands the healthy love because it's real.
It is.
It's
It exists.
it exists. If I went through all of this, you cannot tell me there's not an opposite.
You know what? This brings me to just in Milwaukee alone over the last, well, shoot, seems like for a while, but it looks like there's been an increase, I would say, within like the last 5 or 10 years or so with domestic violence ending in the life of someone.
Yes,
Um, I've seen it quite a bit on the news where um, women are leaving these men when they see, you know, I'm worth more than this. I don't need to deal with this. They leave, and these people who choose to abuse you don't have control over their emotions. Um, they sometimes feel that if they, hold on to you, um, that it's going to like one day you just gonna get comfortable with it and just let it be. That's what my outside opinion is almost if as if they think that you're going to just let it go.
because that's what they want. They
Yeah, they
want
definitely
you
want you to
to say,
just go with
"Go
the
with it,
BS.
go
Yeah.
with it." One of my experiences to be able to, because I always tell people I can only speak from experience. I can't give you advice off of something I ain't never been
Mm-hmm.
through. I tell that to my clients. When my clients talk to me, I'm not the best person for you to ask that question because I ain't never been through that, so I'm not going to be able to answer that for you. I can
Mm-hmm.
speak hypothetically, but I can't give you an indefinite. And so this is something I can say definitely. Um, in the last one, he had a TV. I barely ever got to watch the TV. That TV was in the living room. He played the game. I would have to beg him to be able to watch TV. So I remember I put him out the house. I was like, I'm done. I'm not dealing with this no more. Get out. He
Mm-hmm.
packed his things up and went to his mom's house. At that time, I was working at Time Warner Cable. I went, used my credit, got me a TV. I got me a brand new bed, got my baby a bed, got the house together. I was doing it. I started to miss him and wanted him to come back. And in that instance, that is pretty much like he had control over my mind. Like, this house is too quiet without him. I I really don't want to be here without him. And then I also wanted to show him, like, look what I could do.
Yeah.
I didn't have the right mentality because if I had the right mentality, I would have kept him out. Well, he before the TV he had bought me, so I rewound it back, bought me a computer. So I would just sit in my room on my laptop and watch Netflix. But then, after a while, you get tired of looking at a little screen.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I bought you the computer for. Why you just can't sit in your room and watch it on the computer? It's the same thing. So I was like, okay. So when he came back, I bought me a 50-inch TV. Had my TV in the room. He had his out there. Towards the end, and I want to say like the last 3 years of that relationship, it was kind of like two friends living in a house together.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I started to grow distant, he started to grow closer, but I wasn't going to let him keep getting closer. So the abuse kicked up a notch.
Because he can sense that you were going
I
to
was
leave.
on the last leg.
Yeah.
Um, that is what that is the mind of an abuser. So people talk about narcissists.
I hear that quite a bit now. That's a term people
That
don't
is
hold. They done learned it, and now it's
they done wore it to the ground. They done wore y'all
like
done wore
that might
that.
not even be a narcissist,
That might not be a narcissist, sweetie. That's an abuser.
right? Or they just don't like accountability.
They just don't like accountability. There's a difference.
Yeah.
The last fight we lost it in. What made me leave the final time, what made me wake up and realize 6 years ago I wasn't going to continue to be a victim of domestic violence. I wasn't going to keep letting somebody put their hands on me. Was the last and final fight. The last and final fight started because at the time I was trying to approach him and communicate with him about something I had seen on Facebook regarding his sister, and it wasn't in a derogatory form. It wasn't to be malicious or anything. It was really just to educate him on what I saw happening and foreseeing for her future.
Mm-hmm.
Had someone not stepped in because she was so little when it was taking place. Once again, I won't go into details because some people's stories is their own to tell.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he was drinking. I'll never forget. He was sitting on the couch. All I remember him saying is, "So you calling my sister a bitch?" And when I tell you he moved as fast as Flash, if not faster, and came over and choked the living life out of me in the dining room. Oh, I didn't even see that one coming.
Okay.
His cousin was there, his sister was there, her sister and her boyfriend was there. And I got up, I went to the kitchen. At this point, I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna fight back this time. You're not gonna just kick my butt in this house. Got swung into a window, the window broke. Got to the kitchen, I'm throwing plates, trying to find a knife. The next thing I know, I'm like, now he didn't punch me, he didn't choke me, he didn't slung me into everything. I'm like, I'm just going into the room. I'm gonna lock the door. I try and lock the room door. He kicks in the door.
Oh,
He
God.
pushes me into the bed post. So we had this really tall bed. I feel my back crack from being pushed on the edge, to the point where the TV I just told you I bought, he threw me into that TV. The TV broke. He picks me up, throws me into the closet door, breaks it off the hinge with my body, hard spits in my face, and tells me, B, I hate you. I wish I never met you. And for me, that was the last straw.
Oh, God, girl.
So for me, when I see people out there that go through this, baby, you're stronger than that. You're
And
so
were there other
beautiful.
people in the house while
Oh
this was
yeah.
happening? And what were
I
they doing?
actually told his cousin, somebody please call the police. His cousin said, oh no, I can't do that. I can't have police contact. My right handed guy can't make this up. I laugh about it now.
Wow.
I can laugh about it now. Ooh, I can laugh about it now. But
Ooh.
man, sister just sat there on the floor next to her boyfriend, shaking her head, just looking. I'm just like,
Just letting
what?
it happen.
Sometimes people don't intervene. But you know something? Honestly, I'm so much stronger than that now. Um, man, listen, don't come for me because I ain't seen you. I you yell at me, I'm yelling back. We gonna be in a screaming match around here. If you swing, I'm swinging too. We both gonna leave out and cuss one of us because I promise you I'm not gonna do it again. Mm-mm. No ma'am, no him, no chance. We ain't not doing that.
No, no, no,
And to
no.
be honest with you, I can say that verbally. I'm just gonna leave you. I don't care how much I love you. I love me.
But what do you think? Because we talked about early on, there's some red flags you might see,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know. Why is it so hard for someone in the beginning stages before it gets too deep to acknowledge the red flags and get out then?
Abandonment, the lack of love, either as a child or an adult, insecurities, the wanting to belong somewhere, wanting somebody, social media. We'll just narrow it down. Man, social media makes you feel like if you ain't got an 800 credit score and you own a house and you don't got two fine cars, nobody's ever going to want you. It's social media, music, having that feel like you
So influence.
always influences. You always feel like you gotta have somebody to be somebody. You know, the new thing is my man, my man, my man. You sitting up there like, well, I ain't got no man. Like, where my man at? So having somebody versus not having nobody at all. Needing help.
Mhm.
Sometimes people need
That's
a
a big
place.
one. Needing help.
Needing help.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
Man,
People
you
will
need a
stick around because they need
house,
some
you
help.
need money, you need help with your kids, you need a vehicle, the need of a person. Um, all of those things
Hmm.
play a part in that. And you don't want to acknowledge it because after a while you fall in love with a person.
Yeah.
And I can speak more recently because I have dated and I have taken people seriously. You start to fall in love with a person. I don't like you, but I love you. And it's different now for me because I know proper communication, coping mechanisms, coping skills,
Hmm.
different ways to approach a situation before it gets too far. But back then, being that young, it was just a matter of wanting to be feeling like I belong. My mom not raising me played a big factor in that. Not feeling like I had family, not feeling like I had anybody to be there to help me parent my son. I wanted my son to grow up with a mom and a dad, no matter what way that looked like.
Hmm.
I wanted somebody to be able to show up to the parent teacher conferences with me, show up to the Christmas carols and parties with me. um, Having somebody just to have somebody, it's just like needing that security. I was insecure.
I see.
So, even now, I just made a post the other day, like what we picked on as a kid, to this day, my skin complexion is still talked about. My height is still talked about. My eyes are still talked about, but now I just brush it off my shoulders. Either I'm going to clap back at you or I'm just not going to say nothing at all because I'm
Hmm.
beautiful. I'm not just beautiful on the outside, I'm beautiful on the inside. I don't
Yeah.
need this. And that's why, at the end of this, I put entrepreneur because I put myself in a position to no longer ever need to stay with someone
You got to be
because
financially secure.
financially, that is the biggest thing I lacked from all three was financial security.
Hmm.
So after I built myself, coming out of it, I had to build my self esteem because the number one thing an abuser tell you is if you leave me, and nobody else gonna want you.
Yeah. Or you ain't never gonna find nobody like me, or this is the biggest mistake of your life.
And I hope I don't. Listen,
Look, that's the reason why I'm
uh,
leaving.
listen, that's why I'm leaving because I don't want this no more.
Exactly. Right.
The famous one that my last one told me was the first one cried for me to stay. I will never forget that. Cried. The second one talked about me like a dog amongst our fraternity and sorority sisters. The third one told me no one else is gonna ever want you. They're only gonna want to sleep with you. For a very long time, I battled that, especially once I got back into the dating world and the people that I was engaging with and exchanging energies with weren't staying.
Mm.
So then I realized something. I wasn't ready to be on that road. But then that's when I got deeper into love languages. So, man, Woo, girl, you got me going.
Well, I mean, this is a great conversation. I'm enjoying
um,
this conversation with you because, like you said, and even through
this
all this, we talking about some really traumatic things, and yet you still,
trauma, I have trauma responses real
yeah.
bad, real bad. I'm constantly, even now, currently, um, asking my partner, "Are you okay? Are you all right? Why it seem like you got an attitude? You mad?" Like I'm constantly doing that, and in all actuality, it's just me having a trauma response to the situation because normally that's what I've been exposed to. Like,
Hmm.
oh God, it got quiet. What's wrong? Or why you look like that? Like
It's kind of like
really
paranoia.
paranoia, and it's really bad.
Hmm.
There we go. That's exactly what it is, and that's a trauma response for me. But even deeper, going back to love languages, uh, I didn't understand love languages then as I do now. My love language is physical touch.
Mine too.
So,
And music is a love language of mine.
and music. So, I'll say physical touch is my predominant love language. Time is my second. Music is going to be my third. And what has happened is my first abuser, his love language was physical touch. So it would seem like the only thing that would calm the situation is if we were having sex. That was it. That was all. So at that time, us being young, we didn't realize that holding each other was physical touch. Holding hands,
Yeah, any
we
type of intimacy
and
outside of sexual.
but we didn't know that. We was just some, hate to be this frank, but horny teenagers. So
I mean, that's the truth. That's what
that
it is.
that's what it was.
So
So,
yeah.
but that was the only thing that calmed that. The second abuser that I had, his was gifts and acts of service. So the only
Mm.
time we would be calm or cool is if I was cooking, if I was cleaning, if I went and got him a gift or something, he was fine. My last one, and the reason why the last one hurt the most is because he was someone I was actually going to marry. His was words of affirmation.
Mm.
He told me I didn't compliment him enough, and
Oh,
I
so
would
he needed
never.
he needed you to geek his head up.
He needed to be put on a pedestal, and at that time, I wasn't a person who was a person of many words.
Mm.
By physical touch being my love language and being exposed to sex so early, sex is how I spoke love to anybody. So I said anybody, not everybody. there's,
Just the people you dealt with.
there's the people I dealt with to clarify that.
Hmm.
Oh, somebody said, "What's the topic?"
We are talking about domestic violence. We are talking about life after surviving domestic violence. Thank you so much. She got the locks. I got the braids. Thanks for tuning in, y'all.
Uh, yes, hi y'all. I'm sorry.
No, no, it's okay.
Sorry.
If anybody else has any other questions, y'all make sure y'all drop them right there. We will answer any questions that you have. It is an open floor. Ebony is here to answer any questions y'all have for her. Or if you just want to learn a little bit more about some of those red flags or things you can avoid, just anything at all in relation to this topic, that is what we are here for. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, honey. Love you. That's Katara, my
Hello.
sister. Hey, girl. Yes. So, um, this has been, man, this has been very eye opening in the sense of because I've seen domestic violence. Um, I've experienced it before. Um, and I know for a fact that it is something that it happens behind closed doors most of the time. And in the outside world, everybody else sees you. It appears you're happy. It appears that y'all got y'all shit together. Um, but behind closed doors, this person is abusing you. They are doing everything in their power to have control over you, to keep you where they need you to be so that they can be comfortable, so that they can be happy. And a lot of the times it's Anything like you said can trigger them. Like you said, you would just be sitting there chilling, and here he come mad because he thought you said something, or
the triggers of them. Uh, they have their triggers. You walk on eggshells. You really
yeah,
do. Um, and that's I will go back and finish love languages for y'all if we got time. But I do want to talk about triggers. Yes, verbal abuse as well.
yeah, definitely.
Um, Triggers. I have triggers. One of my triggers coming from out of that is I don't like to be yelled at. My life is so quiet now.
Hmm.
It is so quiet. It's just me and my son. It's me and my business.
Peaceful.
It's so peaceful. So when I get into a relationship, it's like, okay, let me put on my grown woman panties and have this disagreement with you when in all actuality I'm so comfortable with being alone. I block you and I ghost you. I actually dated somebody that had to teach me that that's a form of abuse. If
Blocking and
you
ghosting them.
blocking and
Yeah,
ghosting,
I agree with that.
wanna know why? Because they said to me, "How can you love me if you block me and don't talk to me?" I wasn't even willing to talk things out. I was just like, I can discard you and move on with my day
Mm, that's
because
deep.
I've learned how to be alone.
But somebody put you, but for somebody to put you in a situation where you feel like it's going to be some type of confrontation,
I block.
and then
I
you like, nope, we
I
ain't doing
am
that.
non-confrontational, but a friend, a very close friend of mine, had to teach me that Ebony, you can say what you need to say without it being confrontational. I'm still learning how to do that.
Yeah.
So for me, a defense mechanism. So I always tell people everybody has a form of abuse in them, and you may not portray it or produce it, or it may not be outward because that's just not who you are.
Hmm.
But every person has something inside of them that allows them to use it as a defense mechanism. My defense mechanism, if we get into it, is vocal.
Hmm.
You will not verbally attack me, and I won't verbally attack you back. And because I know that, I try not to have these conversations at all. So I'd rather block you, move away from this situation until it's calm and we can go back and address it. Because depending on how it's presented to me, I'm gonna code switch on you,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna go from a lover girl to a fighter girl. I don't want that within my relationship. So now one of the things that I'm learning going into year 6 of being domestic violence free is proper healthy communication all around the board.
That's a good one.
It's man, I can communicate, but properly and effectively communicate, total
It's
different thing.
challenging.
Challenge. Just because I can communicate it to you doesn't mean you can understand it because the way I communicate it to you may not be the way that you understand it.
Well, let me say this. I feel like then so shit. When we talk about what we do, I know personally that if somebody look at me a certain way and I could tell something wrong with you, I'm gonna be like, why are you looking at me like that? You know what I mean? And if you tell me it's nothing wrong with you, I'm gonna be like, you're lying because I can see it all over your face.
But
You know what
there
I mean?
really might not be anything wrong.
But it is. No, I'm just playing.
Listen, but
Uh,
it, I'm like that though.
or if you
I'm
don't want to talk to me, why? Because I want to talk about this right now.
and see that's what
There's things I gotta work on.
we I'm but you know what? I'm not like that. If you don't want to talk to me right now, I'm cool with it. But you know what I can't deal with? Don't be next to me and not touch me though.
Mm.
Because I don't feel connected to you. Like if I'm with you, why I can't lay up under you? Why I can't be on you? Why you ain't hold my hand? Why
Ah,
why you ain't
because
touch
that
my
because
why you
that
ain't
love
give me a
language.
hug? So I can't deal with that. So when a person doesn't touch me, what's wrong? What's going on? Is something wrong? Like, did I do something?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't feel the connection because the love language in which I speak is not present.
Right.
And that
That makes
came
sense.
from being abused. I don't want a lot of the abuse I went through threw me into this new thing where a soft caress feels so much better than somebody punching me. But I'd rather you soft caress me because that's how I'm gonna know that you love me. Verbally, I'm easily torn down. Easily torn down. Doesn't mean I have low self esteem, not at all. If I did, I wouldn't be here today. I don't lie. But your words will hurt, especially if I care about you. Now, if I don't care about you, nothing you say bothers me. You're just a joke. You're a clown. I'm laughing at you. But if I care about you, I care about your thoughts of who I am,
Yeah.
and how I look.
I'm the
Not
same
that
way.
it's going to change who I am. I will adapt to anything or anyone. I'm not going to change who I am. So, and that came from, I call them the 5 laws of growth: setting boundaries, having standards, expectations, requirements, and limitations. Those for me are the 5 laws of growth. I didn't have boundaries at first.
How did you come across those laws? Was this something you talked about with your in therapy, or this is something that you just came to like a self realization that those were the things that
We
were helping you along?
we went over some of it in my therapy. So I went over boundaries and standards in therapy. The remainder was self revelation, from just being alone. I tell people all the time, man, the best thing I ever did was be by myself. The best thing after all the abuse, after all the trauma, the best thing I ever did was be by myself.
Yeah.
I have a lot more patience now than I ever had to deal with someone. But how it works is my boundaries. I am willing to bend this far, but I ain't gonna break my standards. My standards are
I was
non-negotiable.
just about to say non-negotiable.
Those are non-negotiable. I don't care. Listen, the boundaries. I we got 7 days out of a week. I need at least 4 of those. My boundary says you can't go past 6. Like, okay, I'm gonna give you these 2 days since you have to work, but day 7 I need you back here because why you not here? That's a boundary, and I'll call it a mediocre boundary, but I'm using it as an example. My standards are non-negotiable. I am.
She says sometimes touching doesn't solve the issue. Talking things over because I care. I want you to be happy, not just him making you happy. You making him happy as well. Just tell him to sit yourself down, boy, and talk to me. Tell me what's on your mind. She said, Al Green, let's
Let's
straighten
straighten
it
it
out.
out. Okay. um, True. This is that's a good comment. Um, the standards are non-negotiable. Somebody asked me what's my standards. Get to the bag. I can't be the only. I've done it where a lot of times in relationships when you're the only person with a stream of income, it will tear a relationship down because it gets so heavy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you gotta come with a bag. I'm saying have the potential to get one though. Another standard is respect. Respect me enough to tell me when things aren't going in the way that you would like them to go. Respect me enough to communicate with me how I'm making you feel. Respect me enough to talk to me what you need. Talk to me about what you need from me. My standard is respect me. The next one is communicate.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to properly communicate, we could sit down here and read every book until you learn how to communicate. So be open to reading.
You know what? I can't stand when somebody get mad at you because you want to communicate. Um, it's like, okay, look, I need to talk to you about this. I don't feel like talking right now. What am I supposed to do? Because I need to talk about this right now.
But see, you can't. Okay, but now that is the
I need to
one.
talk about this, or I'm gonna lose my freaking mind.
But that is the one thing. I'm sorry, guys. That is the one thing. Oh, hi, Melissa. Thank you, honey.
Hi, Melissa.
That is the one thing I can truly say. Um, we as a collective have to work on, because I used to be like that. Like, I want to talk right now. Why you can't talk? I want to talk right now. I want to talk right now.
Yeah.
But what good is it for you to speak right then and then if you're communicating, it's getting distorted because that person isn't there to listen. You don't want a person to just hear you. You want them to be able to listen
You
to you.
do, but why don't you want to listen to me?
Because right now, you want to have this conversation. And sometimes instead of having a full conversation, sometimes it's best to say, you know what? I have a topic that I need to discuss with you.
Mm-hmm.
Are you capable of discussing this topic with me right now? I'm not emotionally available to discuss this topic. Now, people don't talk like this, but I mean, hey, I'm just giving y'all an example.
Yeah.
I'm not emotionally available to discuss this topic with you right now. That's when it's up to you to be the bigger person to say, well, hmm, what's going on with you that you're not able to talk about this topic right now? Get their mind clear from what's bothering them so that you can now talk to them about what's bothering you because your mind is already clear.
Mm-hmm.
You already know what you want to talk about. You already know what you want to discuss. You already know what you're hoping to come out of it because you didn't have time to think about it. They have not.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you want to have this immediate conversation with someone that can't give you a proper response? That's going to lead to, guess what? A verbal abusive conversation. Because now instead of y'all talking with each other, you're talking at each other.
And that's just so sad. That's sad. We don't want that. Yes, good point. Good point. Communication is tough. We're getting a little off topic, but it does have something to do with, relationships and how you deal with people. So it's a
Sorry.
huge part. Um, what she say, I need to be a part of this in person. This is good. Absolutely. Just let me know. Hit me up, inbox me if you're interested in coming on the show, and we will talk about it. But yes, thank you so much, Ebony, for coming on today. We
Yeah.
covered a lot of important topics. We covered red flags.
Yes.
We covered some of the things that could cause someone to become abusive.
Yes.
We discussed the things that could cause someone to stay in an abusive situation. Um, we talked about there is life after DV, which is huge. She's an entrepreneur now. She's a mother and she is doing very well for herself. She didn't let that stop her and she's not gonna let that happen again.
I just want to say to anybody that did tune in or will tune in even after we close, if you are in an abusive relationship, if you are in a relationship that you know does not fit who you are and it is tearing you down, it's okay to leave.
Mm-hmm.
That fear that you have in you that says, how are you going to do this on your own? Get rid of it.
Get rid of it.
Hey, hi, head.
Hello.
You get rid of it. And I'm going to tell you why. When I left, I didn't have two nickels to rub together. I left my last relationship in my mom's 2007 Burgundy Million with the engine going out. I told my son, pack up whatever he could. He wasn't bringing all these toys. I left a whole house behind.
Wow.
And I left and I just moved. I had absolutely nothing and I fell flat on my face. I'm not going to tell y'all no beautiful thing came out of my first time leaving.
Right.
No, I ended up homeless in 2017. I ended with no income, no credit score, no nothing. I couldn't get absolutely nothing in my name in 2017. But what I did leave with was my life.
Yes.
I left with my dignity. I left with my son. I left with enough fight, strength in me to get back up. It's not easy.
And you left with no regrets.
And I left with no regrets. No regrets, none at all. If you are getting abused, one, call the hotline. Two, yes, in certain situations, you actually can contact 211 and they will actually help to fly you out of the state that you're in if you're being abused. Thirdly, fight back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fight back. If at some point you just really just you're tired, it's okay to fight back and leave. Leave with your life.
Yes.
There will be another relationship. There will not be another you.
There will not be another you.
And
That's super important right there.
it's okay to be alone. It's hard because you think to yourself, I don't want to be the girl in the shelter, but do you want to be the girl in the casket? I don't want to be the girl that got to eat hot dogs. Well, do you want to be the girl eating your food off the floor? I don't want to be the girl who don't got no clothes. Well, do you want to be the girl picking up bleached clothes? If you are being abused, there is life after abuse. You can do it. It's not easy. It is not pretty. It is a struggle, but you can do it. Being 6 years free out of 13 years of my life of trauma and abuse, I've had the most beautiful life in the last 6 years. I have traveled so much. I've done hair now for a TV show. I've done several weddings. I have started my business. My son is driving. Okay.
Wow. I'm
I
so
taught
happy for
myself
you.
how to drive. And my son, I put him through driver's ed and he drives now. I've made it to homecoming. Now I'm getting to see him go off to prom.
Yeah.
I left and I started off of 35th and Burleigh,
Yeah.
right where we are, right,
Right,
right.
right
Sorry,
here.
right where we are. I started here, then I moved to 39. Now I stay up in numbers, and I'm not saying I stay in the perfect neighborhood, but guess what? I had a dream,
Yeah.
I had a goal, and I went for it. Is all of this easy? It's not. I have taken, I have to take financial courses, financial literacy courses. I have had to take credit courses. I have had to learn how to prioritize my life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've had to learn that I can't always run away from a problem. I can shop it away. In the past years, I didn't, yes, and pray,
Definitely.
pray, pray, pray.
Lean on
I
God.
Man, lean on him because I promise you he gonna get you there. I've been an alcoholic at some point during this journey, but what I've been for most of the last 6 years of my life is alive. In all of those relationships, I was dead.
Wow.
I didn't like to smile. It's on my Facebook. I don't hide it. I didn't like to smile. I didn't like how I looked. I didn't like to talk. I didn't like to be around people. I would have never agreed to have been on the show at all. The most important thing that you get when you are done and you say enough is enough and you start to live for you is you get to finally start living.
Hmm. You finally get to start living. You finally get to start living. If you or anybody you know is experiencing domestic violence, do not ignore it. Talk to that person. Ask them what there is that you can do. If there's anything that you can do, give them resources if you can. And if you are someone experiencing it, like she said, call 211. They're going to give you some information so that you can get out of that situation.
And
And like you said, it's shelters and all type of stuff available.
shelters, all types of stuff available. And the next biggest thing I'm gonna tell you, when you get out, get the therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Get the therapy. Therapy helped me so much. You get out, you get the therapy, you stay out and don't ignore the red flags. You you are only a victim when you have a victim mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I was a victim. I am not a victim. I am a survivor. I'm a fighter. I'm a survivor and I'm an entrepreneur, but I am no longer a victim. You do not get to victimize me.
Mm.
You do not get to belittle me. You do not get to hurt me. It is only so much I'm going to take before I'm done taking anything at all. And then I'm going to let you know this isn't going or progressing in the way that I need it to go for the future of my life and the endeavors that I've set forth for myself.
Mm-hmm.
If you're being abused, it's okay to tell somebody. And the bigger thing is when people tell you, don't tell them you don't believe them.
Right. Right. That's like the worst thing you can do.
Be there, support them. We know you get tired of hearing our story. You know, I have Friends that are they probably got tired of me, got tired of me crying, got tired of me talking about it and going back. And I can truly say I apologize. But there are at least four friends right now that are still there to this day that saw it through, that are that have been there from every chapter, every journey, and I love them
Aw,
immensely.
I'm so glad you had that type of support.
Do not get tired of listening to your people. They already feel alone.
Hmm.
They already are broken. They already feel less than. They already are battling feeling worthless. They are already using makeup. That's how I got into makeup. I actually didn't used to wear makeup. I got into makeup, and I'm not no MUA. You will never see that title behind Ebony's name. But I do a little something, something, I got into it to hide the scars. I got the tattoos to hide the scars. So please, people, if you're in the abusive relationship, find the strength to get out. I would rather sleep on a bus stop now than ever stay with somebody putting their hands on me or tearing me down and making me feel like I'm nothing.
Yeah.
I would rather eat noodles for 5 months before I stay in a household with somebody that does not make me feel loved or appreciate me or take me or value me.
Yeah.
I
That
won't
makes sense.
do it. So,
You can't apologize for what you experience and just love yourself more and value your life so you're able to share it with the people you love. Facts.
amen. Facts.
Facts.
Get out, stay out, and start living. If that part, real friends aren't going to be tired of you, they can only be tired of watching you hurt.
That's a
And
good one,
that
Melissa.
is a good one, Melissa. And I can contest that my best friend of 20 years, that's what she's always said to me. Even in more recent times, she just say, I'm just tired of seeing you hurt. You don't deserve it. You gotta know that you deserve better.
Hmm.
Being in the I will say this, I cannot deal with a financial abuser. I can't deal with a mental abuser. I can't deal with physical. I can't deal with emotional, and I can't deal with spiritual.
None of it.
None of it. I can't deal with none of it. Now, you have to understand that there's different types, there's different ways it looks. One thing people don't recognize is verbal. Verbal abuse is real. But I will say, if if I have somebody that doesn't know how to communicate, I could work with you on communication. I cannot work with you on the rest. That is my boundary.
Hmm.
I will work with you on communication. I will not work with you for the rest. I won't do that. My limitation is if you aren't willing to read the book, if you aren't willing to go down the journey of
Do the work.
therapy with me and do the work with me, if you aren't willing to go with me to learn new things, then that's what my limitation. That's my limit. Hey, if you're not willing to learn, I can't teach you what I
Hmm.
know.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that and always remain teachable. So one thing about being a survivor is I remain teachable now. I listen, I look, and I hear. And when I tell people, they be like, "Well, if you're listening, you're here." No, there's a difference. Hearing,
Big difference.
if I hear you, I eat the meat, spit out the bone. When I listen to you,
I digest.
I digest it. But I'm always remaining to be teachable, and that's something I had to learn from that I took into entrepreneurship.
Hmm.
I don't always act on what I'm being taught at this time that is being taught to me, but I compartmentalize it within my mind to use it later. And I learned that from being in these type of relationships. One of the biggest things, and I want to say this before we end, I've learned how to read people very well. Body languages,
Hmm.
tones, the change of hair, clothes, nails, smells. you name it. I can look at a person's energy and I can tell what is going on in the minds of a person or what they really truly are feeling at the time that they're feeling it. Because I built up a wall from being in those relationships to have to pay attention.
Mhm.
From being in domestic violence relationships, you really start to be like, today gonna be a good day.
You
So
become observant.
you become observant. It's crazy because I watch people tell me like you said, you telling me ain't nothing wrong, but it really is something wrong. I can tell when something's really wrong, and I can tell when it's not. I can tell when we are about to get into it, and I can tell when we are not. I know when it's the appropriate time to address the situation, and I know when it is not. I can look at a person and tell you like, oh yeah, that person definitely will go there. That person will put their hands on you. And people be like, how do you know that? I've seen it so many times. My knight in shining, my knights became my monsters under the bed.
Mm.
Do not let somebody take your life away from you. For women who don't have kids, it's okay, sweetie. Get out of that abusive relationship because sometimes having, and I'm gonna tell you, giving them a baby ain't gonna change it.
No, no, it's not.
Giving them a baby is not going to change it. Giving them a baby is only going to give them something more to use to control you against you.
Yeah.
For people with children, sweetie, what life are you really giving your kid if you're not giving them the happiest version of you?
And kids can tell when something is wrong. And
Not,
they hear the conversations, they hear the yelling.
yep.
They know when mommy's hurt. They know when she's been crying and all that.
My son was 10. He was 9. Because we left when he was 10. He was 9, and we were on 22nd and Keith. He came out of his room. I was in the bathroom. I was talking to my cousin Kavion. He got up from the living room, came to the bathroom, busting the door. Who you talking to? My son opened up the door. She talking to our cousin Kavion. Dang! I noticed then that my son was now not only was he a victim of what I was going through, he was now becoming a witness to what I was going through. And if I didn't leave, he was going to now become what I was going through. I
Mm.
didn't produce an angry kid. I was starting to raise one.
Wow.
My my son and me, our favorite line, if he was here right now, I'd be like, what type of household we got? He'd be like, our house is full of love, peace, joy, and harmony. And that's what we tell anybody. You come in here, peace, love, joy, and harmony. We don't got time for all that.
Hmm. I love
I,
that. I
so
love that. That's
it's man, it breaks my heart. I know a couple of people. People reach out to me sometimes on Facebook, and I'm not gonna tell who they are. It's a lot of people that you don't assume are going through this, and they are.
hmm
And domestic violence is a disease, and I want people to
hmm
stop thinking that it's not. Abuse is a disease. It's a disease of the mind. These people really mentally need help.
and it's on both parties.
It's on both parties.
Hmm
If I would not have gotten the help then, I wouldn't be who I am today as an entrepreneur. My business would not stand on integrity. It wouldn't stand on the ground that it stands on. The ground, I like to call myself a popular loner. Many people know of me. Not too many people have actually gotten to know me.
hmm
But that is only because in everything I do, I move with integrity. And I learned that from taking what I went through and building something from it.
Yeah, and also you have to be intentional about who you bring in your life,
Mm-hmm.
um, and you have to be intentional about what you do
Yes,
with with your life, right? So
yes,
all that comes together full circle.
it does. And you, I really, man, I can't express it enough. I hope more women get out of the situation. But it's more now speaking to these younger generations.
Hmm
Like you just said earlier, they're killing
Yeah,
each other. They're killing each other. They're not just, you know, what I was going through was that we fought this out and I could have potentially lost my life at any given moment. One wrong punch, one wrong swing. I'll never forget when I got pushed out the moving car. I will never forget that. That just was the wildest one for
That's
me. That
insane.
wasn't even the wildest one, but that one is like a wild one. Like literally, somebody you're in the car and they stop the car, and I'm in the passenger seat. So for you to reach over, open the door, and
Push
push
you
me
out the
out,
car.
drive off, come back, and be like, "Get your dumb A in the car. Why you down there on the ground?"
Like you didn't just push me out the car.
These
Oh,
these kids are like, "I'm gonna push you out the car and then shoot you in the head." Talk to your teens. Talk to your kids.
yeah.
Talk to them about this. Stop sheltering them from this. Not only did I have to get there, so did my son.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, parents sweep it under the rug. Um,
They don't talk to the kids about it. They
no,
just, oh, they lived through it, but now I'm out of it, so everything's okay. No, they're still dealing with. They probably are having nightmares. They're probably, you know,
I hope my mom
reacting.
forgives me for this. She'll probably call and yell at me later, but whatever. Hey, mom. She is a victim to it. My
Yeah,
mom was a victim to it 2 times. I seen her
my
go
mom
through
was
it.
too.
And so the question becomes, if you see your parent go through it, how could you go through it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, me and my mom never talked about it. It was just we seen it and wipe it under the rug.
Everybody act like it's okay. It's everybody acts like, oh, don't worry about it. They just having a moment. No, no, it's more than a moment because somebody's bleeding.
Somebody is
Someone,
bleeding. There is a
yeah,
black eye. There is the
yeah.
bust lip. There is a bruised rib. There, your jaw is out of your mouth. This is not
My
just a
personal items are
moment.
broken and
Personal
vandalized.
items are broken. This is not a moment.
Yeah.
What people don't realize is domestic violence after so long becomes normalized.
And it doesn't matter what somebody does to you, whether it's pleasing, displeasing. You don't have the right to hurt them. You don't have the
No,
right to touch their things.
no.
What gets me is the people who like to abuse your things too, like
That
you said, bleaching the
mm,
clothes,
bleaching the clothes, tearing up your clothes,
busting car windows.
busting car windows. Honestly, I always tell people now I got things to lose, nothing to prove. Baby,
Mm-hmm.
I ain't touching none of you. I'm not gonna touch you. I'm not gonna touch your things. I'm not doing none of that.
Right. I'm just gonna
No,
leave.
I'm gonna just leave because I want you to touch my stuff. It's things. It's putting you out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
It's letting you back in the house. It's taking the key. Like
Taking
I
the key
moved in with you, and now here it is. When we get into it, but give me my key back and get out. But you know I have nowhere else
to
to
go.
go. It's isolating you. It's removing you from your friends, removing you from your family, and making you feel like they're all you got and they're all you need.
Yeah.
It's it's physically not being. Now I want a partner. Not just the relationship. I want a partner. Someone where we balance each other.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are in an abusive relationship, because it's not a partnership is between two people that agree to partner together to build a future and a strong platform
Mm-hmm.
with one another.
Yeah.
A relationship is where one person is really steering this ship into their realization. They want this relationship to go the way they want it to go, and nothing else matters. And most of the time, that's an abuser. So your things are at their disposal. Your mind is at their disposal. Your food, how you eat, how you sleep, what you wear, what you do, where you go, is at their disposal.
Yeah.
If your body, and I'm going to say this again, if your body and your mind does not feel safe, sweetie, leave.
And you are not safe if you don't feel
If
safe.
you are not safe if you don't feel safe.
And another thing, just because you fight back doesn't mean the situation's any better because I've seen people be like, oh, yeah, he put his hands on me, but I fought him back though. Like we was fighting. And so now everything's okay because, yeah, you put your hands on me, but I put my hands on you too. So we really just had a fight. I wasn't abused. We had a fight. No, you were still abused
You are still
and you were put in a
abused.
position to have to defend
You,
yourself.
victim,
So you are still
fighter,
a victim.
survivor. You
Yeah.
are still being abused.
Yeah.
Just because you fight back does not mean why do you want to, why do you need to have to fight back?
You shouldn't have
Let's
to fight somebody you
let's put
love.
it that way. Let's ask the question.
Yeah.
Why did you need to fight? Because you were threatened.
Yeah.
Because you had to protect yourself. That's abuse.
That's abuse.
You I don't oh Lord. I really hope people get and understand that
Yeah.
because it's it's devastating how many people go through this. There's the Sojourner Truth House that help battered women.
Yeah. I've heard of them.
They are there to help. I used to know the number by heart. I don't know the number, but I will post it on my page so you guys will have the number. It will be
Thank
on
you.
my page. Um, and if there is somebody watching and they want to reach out to me, feel free to inbox me. Please feel free to inbox me. Um, I will talk to you. I will get you as many resources that I have at my disposal to help you because people just don't understand. It's so much beautiful feeling safe. I tell people all the time, I feel safe, and you'll know when you're with the right partner because you will feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
When you are with someone who loves you, respects you, honors you, values you, wants the best of you and for you, you will feel safe. They become home.
Yeah.
The three people I went with were like haunted houses. They were Jack in the Box. I
I
never
feel like
knew
they.
what I was gonna get.
Yeah, and I feel like they saw the pain in you. They saw the hurt in you, and saw it as an opportunity to trauma bond with you. For one, I feel like that's what started it off. Was there was a trauma bond. Y'all were able to identify on certain levels with either similar situations, or you knew something. You know what I mean? That
All three
that
of
was
my
relatable.
abusers, we all had something in common. None of us was raised by our parents.
Wow.
All three of my abusers, we all had something in common. None of us had a place. All three of my abusers, we had something in common. We all just either our parents had some form of drug abuse or alcohol abuse. All three of my abusers, we all had lost someone at an early age. All of us, every last three of them that I was with, we all had something in common. And whereas I've always been light attracts dark,
Mm-hmm.
I've always been a light person. Always. The person y'all see today, even now when I smile, that's always been who I am. I've always been a giver. I've always tried to be a healer to the ones that I talk to.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been a lover girl. Like, I love cooking. I love cleaning. I'm romantic at heart. Like, all of that. Every last one of them. I was always the light and I always attracted the darkness. And so,
That's because people who are in the darkness are gonna feed off that light because they're not accustomed to it and it feels good. And they're like, "Oh, let me snuggle up." Just like when you cold. It's kind of like when you're cold and you get to a fire and
yeah,
that warmth. It's like, "Oh, I haven't felt this in so
so yeah.
long. It feels so good. I would rather be here than in the cold." You know what I'm saying?
With
It's crazy.
the men that I dated, I can truly say it was like I provided that motherly feel that they
That they were
lacked.
lacking.
And they, for me, provided me the opportunity to be the mother that I felt that I lacked. So I
Mm.
offered to them, and I'm still this way. I offer to who I'm with what it is I wish someone would give to me.
Hmm.
But now I offer it with hopes that the love is returned.
Reciprocation, huge.
No longer do I just hand this out freely without the expectation for you to give it back. And not
Hmm.
expectation, because the expectation
With the standard.
with the standard, you will give it back.
Hmm.
And I learned that from being in these relationships and being abused. And it's sad because it took me a long time to figure that out. It took me, I'm only 35.
Hmm.
So, when people, talk to me, yeah, y'all got a little red hair up here, but my hair is black and gray. I'm wiser beyond my years. I'm probably older than most people. I don't like to do a lot of things. Now it's about traveling for me.
Hmm.
I do go out periodically, but I prefer not. If it ain't no food when we going, I don't want to be there because what I'm here for. Um, you know,
Yeah.
I I'm a homemaker more now than I ever have before. I'm more focused on my goals and just having the energy to actually attack those goals. The older you get, the more the listen. My body don't move like it used to. Ain't no hitting the splits now. Like what? So after going through that, and having all of these years in abuse and trauma, only thing I have time for is peace. And I'm saying that because what people have to realize is the longer you stay in these domestic violence relationships, and I'm just not going to say just domestic violence, the longer you stay in these abusive relationships, because there's so many different types out there, the more strength you take away from yourself, the
Hmm.
more time you take away from yourself, the more love you take away from yourself, the more you crush your dreams and you let them go, the more you are hurting yourself, and the people who do love you, they're suffering and they're hurting too.
Yeah.
The longer you stay, the less time you have to truly enjoy what you were put on this earth for.
Yeah.
You are not what you're going through. You are a victim of what you're going through, but you are not a product of it. So get
And you do
out
not
of
have to
it.
stay a victim.
You do not have to stay victim. Oh no.
Yeah. So at
Mm-mm.
the end of the day, it's really, you just got to come to terms when it's time to leave, it's time to leave. Don't give no excuses. Don't give no reasons. You just got to
we
get the heck up
we
out
gonna
there.
say not when it's time to leave. Leave the first time. Ain't no time.
Leave.
Leave the first time. Le- get up, leave, pack your stuff, and go. Leave the first time and don't rewind. Because trust me, an abuser's favorite line is, I'm gonna change. I'm gonna work on me. Well, you let me know what your therapist name is so I can put it in for a joint session. Cause until we talking about you going to get some therapy, you ain't changing.
Right.
They change for the moment and they get you stuck on a routine.
And it just
That
keeps spiraling.
and it just keeps spiraling. It keeps spiraling. Leave the first time. Not the second, not the third, not the fourth, not the fifth. Leave the first time. The first time you realize that this person truly means you no good. We discussed how many different abuses there is out there.
Hmm.
The first time this person that shows you they don't mean you no good, get out of Dodge. It's scary to not have nowhere to go, but it's even scarier to stay where you're not wanted.
Yeah. Or to even just, I can't imagine trying to sleep at night, not knowing if that
Oh, you
person is
don't
going
sleep.
to.
You don't sleep.
Yeah.
You
I
you
can't
don't
even imagine
you don't
that.
sleep. Like you real life get in the bed and be like, okay, should I close my eyes? Not close my eyes. I really want to get up and go to the bathroom, but I feel like if I get up and go to the bathroom, they're gonna be like, what the heck am I doing? So I'm just gonna lay here. After a while, you don't even talk.
Mm.
I stopped talking. It was just us just being in the house. It don't be what you want for dinner no more. It just be like, you gonna go get food or am I gonna go get food? It really be like, yeah, I'm gonna go sit in this room on this computer.
Yeah.
And I used to sit in my room all day. Sit in my room all day. Wouldn't even come out. My son be in his room. I'll be in my room. Believe it or not, I'm still that way. I spend majority of my time in my room. Going outside, I go to the front porch. You go out, you finally get yourself dialed up, you get pretty. Well, you looking good for it. Oh, what? You must that you just want somebody to notice
Hmm.
you. So now you can't even do something to yourself to make yourself feel good or look good. You know, it's no way to live.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's
not.
what I'm going to say. If people ask me, what do I remember? Not do I just remember the abuse. It was no way to live. The life I live now is a beautiful life. It's beautiful. I'm not saying I don't have struggles. I'm not saying I don't have trials. What I am saying is it's a beautiful life. I'm loved. I'm appreciated. I'm taken care of. I'm joyous. I'm free. I currently get told to wear certain things I don't want to wear. Like, you want to see me in this because I don't want to put this on. But if you okay with it, I'm great with it. I'm motivated.
Yeah.
I'm uplifted.
I
If
love it.
there
I hear it.
it even in a disagreement, it goes so far and it stops. We're learning communication. We're working on that. But the fact that the work is there, the life I have now is the one where I deserve this.
You do. You work so hard for it.
Man, it's I love the life I got now. I don't dislike the life I had before because without that life, I wouldn't have this, but I wouldn't go back to the old one.
Yeah.
And that's what people have to realize. When you get out,
Stay out.
stay out. And those barriers you think you can't get through, yes, you can. Pray, put God first, stay focused, start healing, and then start applying.
Hmm.
You will be okay. You will be okay. And if you, there's, I can truly say, like, I've seen some people where, they have to leave the state. They can no longer live where they are.
Hmm.
Well, guess what? Sometimes your soulmate ain't in the state you in anyway. You know,
Opportunity knocks.
opportunity not. You don't know what's gonna happen when you get out.
Hmm.
It's I love to smile now. I love to laugh now. I love being able to be in a room with people and just be myself. Now, do I still have anxiety? Yes, of course I do.
Hmm.
All the time, sometimes too much. But I've learned how to work through it because I tell myself everybody isn't out to get you for one. I am the positive mantra queen. Okay, they go off on my phone daily. I will get up in the mirror and be like, "You are beautiful. You are gorgeous. You are smart." And I no longer dumb myself down to make somebody else feel smart.
Okay.
Mm-mm. I'm not gonna sit in the background and act like I don't exist. No, you don't get to make me feel small so you can feel big. So I learned that from abuse, though, and I'm not saying you gotta go through abuse to learn these lessons. You don't.
You know.
That's why I'm here talking about it, so you don't have to go through it. What I'm saying is, don't go through what I went through to learn what it is that I've learned today. Get out and go, so you don't have to go through it and then end up somewhere knee deep. I've ended up in the corner in the dark, crying my eyes out, incapable of even going out in public with my son. That's how deep it got for me when I came out of my abuse. I physically could not deal with the world. Taking my son to the park to go skating, I couldn't walk into the park. My son had to grab my hand. We'll go to Popeye standing in line. It's six people. I see a car that looks like his. I'm running, almost leaving my kid in Popeyes. You don't have to get to that point when
Right.
you leave the first time.
And I think this is man, this right here is going to open the doors for so many other people who got a chance to either tune in today. Um, they can play this back and watch this, show this to somebody who's experiencing this. Whatever you got to do. Again, at the end of the day, we just want to help. She just wants to tell her story so that people understand the challenges, but also the 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 brightness at the end of the tunnel exists. That's really what people need to know is there is a life after this. You don't have to. You don't have to fall apart.
You don't. You don't have to become the abuse that you're subjected to, and that's what I always tell people. And I, the biggest thing I've learned is being able to tell when somebody has normalized toxic, narcissistic, abusive ways from previous relationships. You do not have to be the abuse that you're subjected to. The way people have treated me, I have not treated others. Under no circumstances would I ever pass along the hurt that I felt. I'm not a hurt person. I am not my broken pieces. I swept my broken pieces up and I actually threw them away and I reinvented myself. You're not going to. I don't know who that girl was. I don't know who that girl is. I know who she was,
Yeah.
but I don't know who she is. I know who I am, and I know who I'm going to be.
Well,
There
I'm
is
proud of you.
there is life after domestic violence. The trip, you gonna take it. The business, you gonna start it. The house, you gonna buy it. The car, you gonna own it.
Yes.
The kids, you gonna have them. The school, you gonna finish.
Period.
The family, you gonna create it. The friends, you gonna get them. You're going to get it. There is life after this. And live your life without fear.
That's a big part.
I do not walk out of my door afraid to run into any one of them. Any one of them. In all actuality, I've received apology from all three of them. I've ran into all three of them.
Wow. Well,
And
hopefully they're working on their healing because
I'm not, girl, I don't
they
know what
need
they're
it.
working on. I ain't asked them what they was working
No,
on.
but I hope they are.
Listen, I hope they doing what they supposed to be doing.
I
'Cause
really hope they is doing the work for themselves and not out here hurting nobody else.
I
I really
pray,
do.
I pray, and it's crazy because I always, the last person I used to always tell them, how would you feel if somebody did this to your mother or your sister? And I remember one time his sister had called him in regards to a situation where her at the time boyfriend, him and her had got into a fight, and he was just so ready to run over there. I said, well, wait a minute, why are you so ready to go run over there and defend her when you over here doing
Doing
this
this to
to
you.
me? He said, well, it ain't my fault that you don't got nobody there to come here and help you.
See, I nope.
Can't, man, listen,
Wow.
that same person, I pray that your children never experience what it is that you took me through.
Hmm.
That's what people don't understand. I don't harbor no hate. I don't harbor no regret, no resentment for any of them. I am not here to talk ill or talk down on y'all names. That's why y'all remain anonymous. At the end of the day, I'm here to tell my story and hope that it helps someone else.
Yeah.
You have to take accountability for what part you have played. I have to take accountability for the part that I played. I don't have to hate you to move away from you
Hmm.
because hate isn't going to do me any good.
It's
That's
not
what you want me to do. That's how we ended up here. You had hate in your heart,
right.
not for me, but for what you went through and you subjected me to it. So why would I take what you gave me and give it to the next person? I'm here to live.
Right.
I'm. I don't know about nobody else. I'm going to Costa Rica this year. I don't know about nobody else. I'm going to Costa Rica. I'm about to be somewhere on somebody's beach getting a good old tan.
I
Okay,
know that's right.
like my son's turning 17 in a week. I'm getting ready to do 17 shades of green.
Yay.
Like I'm here to live. I'm here to live and help somebody else live. I'm here to help somebody else. Those little goals, chase them. Because once you start hitting them little goals, oh, you be on bigger things.
Yeah. You
That
realize there's so much more out there you can do.
is so much more out there you can do. Majority of my life from 15 to 28, I did not take my first real trip until March of 2017, which was the year that I left my last abuser. We ended up going to California. That was my first trip in 2017. I've taken an abundance amount of trips since then.
Hmm.
I had took some trips, to Mississippi. I don't count from when your parents make you go to Mississippi, Louisiana. Them don't count. Them don't count. You don't want to go to that anyways. You know you didn't want to be out there in the sun with them bugs. No, you didn't, because I know I didn't. Uh, I have went there before. I've been to Portland. Majority of my family is out there in Portland. When I was younger, like sixth grade, I went to London, England. But when I say I took my first trip as an adult, I took my first trip 2017. Since then, I've been somewhere everywhere. I don't know how to sit down half the time.
I think that's great.
Um, I've always wanted to do hair. I wanted to do hair since I was a little girl. That was my dream. I talked about it like immensely amongst my friends. I could tell you, like I spoke about hair in such an abundance that they probably was tired of me talking about hair. Like I was sitting there like, let me try this, let me do this on your hair. All you gotta do is buy the hair, I'm gonna do it for free. Like I started off with being a basic $35 crochet stylist. That was what I started with. Now everywhere I turn, I go somewhere. You the girl that do locks. As you can see, your sister just mentioned. Look, now I gotta go
Yep.
figure out because I think she didn't change the name because that is not the name she
That's
had
not
on.
what she had on there before.
That
No.
is not what she had. And so everywhere I go, someone recognizes me from hair, but the love I get back from the people who recognize me from hair, from those different business interactions that I've had, or um, different business events I've shown up. I've shown up to events feeling like I'm not gonna know anybody in here,
Yeah.
and knowing every person in there. They're like, "Oh yeah, I know you." Wait, what? I do not know you, but okay,
Your
hey.
reputation
And
precedes you.
just having people know me for something good
Yeah.
after I've known so much bad is all I could ever ask for. If someone asks me what is my sole dying purpose in this earth, is to show people that good people exist, love exists,
Hmm.
peace is real, happiness is a go-to, and you can do anything you set your mind to.
I love it. And I'm actually going to wrap it up with that. You can do anything you put your mind to. Love you first before you try and bring somebody else in. Because anything that you're dealing with internally can put you in positions with people that you just don't need to be in. It'll cause you to ignore certain things because you are so consumed with what you feel you are missing, and you're trying to look for it in other places. And so it can lead to other things that aren't good for you. So love yourself, love on each other, y'all. Be there for one another. And me and Ebony, we're gonna call it a night.
Yeah,
We're gonna call it a night.
we're gonna call it a night. I
And
think it was a great show.
it's been a great show. Thanks everybody for tapping in with us. Again, play this back if you missed anything, and I'll see y'all again next month.